So, all right, Vaibhav, let's roll it and let's start. Are you ready?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's shoot.
Wonderful. No doubt you're ready. Wonderful. Awesome. So, thank you so much for joining. I'm really blessed to have you on the show and a lot to learn from you. So, definitely, I'm excited. Cannot wait more.
I think learning is always mutual. So thank you, Diksha, for this opportunity and look forward.
Thank you so much. All right. So beginning with the show, Vaibhav ji, बताइए अपने life के बारे में. Like you have this complete time. 10 minutes is all yours. Tell me about the learnings that you have in entire life. आपने इस field को कैसे choose किया? आप innovation क्या समझते? Plus also share like your downtime. कभी आपका downtime आया अपनी life में कुछ भी आप share कर सकते हैं बचपन में या you know कॉलेज टाइम में कुछ भी ऐसा डाउन टाइम जहाँ पे लोग सोचे कि मैं अकेला नहीं हूँ जिसके साथ ये सारी प्रॉब्लम्स होती है राइट सो ओवर टू यू वैभव जी टेक इट्स योर टाइम सो गो अहेड
Well, I think the life has been so far kind.
या
I kind of started my regular course, like you see, most of the people who do well in their education in the school. So then they venture into engineering. So I ventured into engineering in a beautiful city called Chandigarh. And then I went into doing my post graduation in Asia from IIT Kharagpur. From there on, I think it's been a life where there has been never a dull day. It's always been full of action. And I'm a kind of a person who has always, went into take things as they come in. So more into the flow. Uh, I think while my approach has been to deal with the various challenges in a more logical manner, but I have not really been planning too far in my life because what I have really seen is whenever you plan too far, life has some surprises for you. So you have to be ready.
absolutely
There have been ups and downs. I think the life is definitely a roller coaster. There have been special, challenges I faced on the career front around the 2009 2010 economic crisis. So I took some risk in terms of career where I ventured into a company. It went into a very high growth phase initially, and then all of a sudden this economic crisis hit all of us. And I think some of the really in-depth learnings and even knowing about self, like what you really are, I think those are the times when you go deep in. And some of the things you make choices, so how much you can, how much you are flexible about things to external factors and how much you're not going to compromise. I think those are situations really shapes up your character. So huge learnings around those period, but which has definitely come very handy when I joined Reliance in 2011 for almost more than 9 years now in a really large conglomerate. I would say one of the great places to work. There's never a dull moment, like I said. There's always so much of action, so many projects happening in such a big company. The vision is really huge, and trying to change the paradigm. I think that's really has been the big driver. Personally speaking, it's not that I have really planned to be in human resources. There's a short story in that I'll just touch upon it. That
sure
I was not really planning to do an MBA in my life.
okay
I kind of I hated the rat race in the
जी
MBAs, but like I said, you plan something else and then life puts across to you the same stuff.
right
So
right
venture into human resources because it was quite different from a typical, I would say, sales marketing, which
हाँ
I was not really very keen about.
जी
And then I thought, let's give it a try. One of the big drivers in my career has been some of the initial mentors that I got in my life. I think that really shapes all of us to quite an extent. Then life experiences take over. But I think the first couple of managers, the first couple of mentors that we really uh, happen to enter our life really shapes us our thinking about a new profession, about a new company, how to go about it. So if I were to really say that uh, try to make a good choice about your initial managers and mentors, because they're really gonna set your horizons, how far you can see, how to approach things, and you will start seeing the world view a little bit through their prism, through their lens. And you get over it also after some time, but they definitely leave a deep imprint. Second, I would say is that I think I have learned a lot by reading,
Okay.
something that I continue till day. I struggle to keep my, what should I say, a kind of a rigor around it. But I think reading is something that really helps you absorb new ideas, new perspectives, new frameworks, and which really helps you to deal with new situation challenges in life. So still pretty much, I think, in the middle of the ocean, and let's see how life takes us from here. I think this pandemic is really giving us some big waves and may set us as new directions as well. So keeping our fingers crossed.
Wonderful, wonderful, Vaibhav. And it's lovely when you talk about, you have the venture and you know exactly कि economic crisis जब हमारा आया था 2009-10 उसमें हमने कैसे overcome किया, which is very challenging. And again, new challenge comes like 2020 में it's COVID. So not economy, but yeah, it definitely impacted in a big way. So yeah, of course. I mean, that's very थ्रिलिंग फ्रॉम इनसाइड. जिसने वो सफर किया वो कुछ भी सफर कर सकता है और कुछ भी ओवरकम करने की ताकत रख सकता है. सो दिस इज ब्रिलियंट. बट आपके इस पूरे विचार में एक क्वेश्चन था जो मुझे पूछना है. I'm sure लोगों का भी यही प्रश्न होगा कि आपने जब बोला मेंटर को ढूंढें, लाइक यू सेड ना, यू हैव टू हैव द राइट काइंड ऑफ मेंटर, राइट काइंड ऑफ पीपल एट द राइट टाइम, otherwise you lose it. So how a person, like any person, maybe young or maybe 25, maybe 30, maybe 45, how to find the right kind of person, how to find the right kind of mentor or somebody. So over to you, Vaibhav. Help us, like how to find your own mentor, the right person. Over to you.
Yeah, so there's no really straight formula to this.
Okay.
I would say that probably 10, 15 years back, it was more of a serendipity for me that I happened to come across some really wonderful people.
Ji.
And there was a frequency match of thinking, of mind. And consider this fact that about 15 years back, I ended up into a 2-hour conversation with somebody who was 30 years senior to me in the industry, and we had met for the first time. So that was pure serendipity, I would say, and it was really lucky I was. But yeah, I think today's age and time, where you got platforms just like LinkedIn, and you got great social networks, you get fantastic opportunities, you can actually reach out. So there are now platforms, mechanisms to reach out and find new people, which was completely unthinkable probably when I started my career. And in that terms of, the access is absolutely global today. But I think it's a two-way relationship, and I think that is the key. Normally when we are seeking out mentors, we are just thinking about what can I get from the mentors. But I think if you also have to think that what mentors are going to get in return. So it could be pure pleasure, but they would really enjoy working with a mentee if there is certain qualities, there's certain rigor, discipline, there's something that's coming out. And then there's a match of area of interest, and I think you have to try with few people with whom you have a better thought process match. But if you want really mentors to invest in yourself, you have to first invest in yourself, and that is the key. So bring some new thinking, bring some new ideas, do your groundwork, do your homework, so that mentors also feel that, yeah, this guy is really challenging me. And I think that is the fun in this game.
Wow, wonderful. I mean, challenge is absolutely necessary when it comes to finding a mentor. First, be a good mentee. You should have that compassion and potential within, and then probably a mentor will be interested into, mentoring someone. Absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
So, Weber, going forward, how does HR human resource happen to you? I want to understand because, a lot of people talk about, for me, it's like I'm into technology. So, machines ko samjhana, it's very easy. You write code and they do the real things, right? But human resource is very tricky. So, how that happened to you and how it's difficult or easy to manage human resources? Over to you, Weber.
Well, I think this is the most difficult question because like I said, it was not planned.
Ji.
Uh, I I would say that during my engineering and during my academic phase, I was very much in an exploratory mode. So during my engineering, like back almost 20 years, I did like 5 different kind of trainings and projects. Usually you do like couple of them and then it's done. But I was always like trying to find new kind of projects in a new setup. So I had seen extremely large factories like steel plants. I've seen very advanced R&D setups like Baba Atomic Research Center. I had seen private industries. I have seen different kind of career options, and I think you really have to go through this discovery process and then figure out what's really working for you, what's not working. More of the times, at least I would say, you figure out what's not working for you, and it takes a little bit longer to find what actually works for you. And I would say that it may sound very counterintuitive, but believe me when I say that you have to do things, but you have to be also open in your mind to sometimes change tracks, sometimes to change your opinions, and sometimes to change what's really best suited for you, because you change as a person every 5 years. The context changes, the world changes, and in the world that we are living today, the world is even changing faster. So I think for me, human resources came as not just a human resources, but it came as a very interesting set of challenges. So I got some wonderful projects to work upon. It didn't really matter to me whether they're human resources or something else. To give an example, in the last 3 4 years, I've been dabbling a lot into HR and technology space. So it doesn't matter to me now, like I'm doing a lot of technology along with a lot of HR. So I think we have to be open in that sense. Going forward, I'm of an absolute view that no longer the careers are going to be identified as a human resource career or a technology career, or it's really finance career and so on. I think there's going to be a lot of interdisciplinary approach that we'll have to take in our lives. We'll keep shifting between one big domain area to another big domain area, and they're gonna be areas of strengths, but they're gonna be, we may be even working in other domain areas which are not actually our core academic areas. In India, we are so used to, right? We are all a lot of so many engineers, but we never do an engineering job. So it comes naturally to us. So in that aspect, be in human resources, if you're really passionate about some of the behavioral science, human behaviors related problem statements, and you really have a positive and a growth mindset, that how can you really help people to become better. Human resources is not about, okay, I like to do reward management. No, that's not. In fact, bots are going to take over very soon. That's my belief. Human is not about, okay, I like to do hiring. I myself am like driving a lot of AI based automation and hiring. So these things are going to change. Human resources is really about how do you help people to become better, more professional, gain more skills, and be more productive. And these are a little bit deeper questions than they look. They look very simple questions, but they are actually quite deep questions. So human resource is gonna get more and more specialized in that sense.
Wonderful, wonderful. Like you mentioned that a lot of AI gonna happen when we talk about acquisition, talent acquisition, and most importantly, lot many things gonna happen in terms of technology. So यहाँ पे बहुत लोग ऐसा लिखते हैं और ऐसा सोचते हैं यार टेक्नोलॉजी आ जाएगा तो मेरा जॉब नहीं है, मतलब we lose job. So what's your take on it? If we like, technology is a supporting engine. It's not like I want to remove you as a human. So how important is human touch in any of the work that we do daily life, and how technology will overlap or overcome those challenges, or probably anything? So what is the role of technology? And when people say, okay, technology is removing the jobs completely, especially in HR domain or any innovation that we do for that matter, what's your take on this point? Over to you, Web.
All right. I think we'll have to take a step back
Yes.
on this perspective and detach ourselves, how we personally get impacted, and see things a little bit in the larger, how things are evolving.
Yeah.
I think there are 2 or 3 things that we have to really fundamentally appreciate. One is about efficiency. So I think as a society, we have a natural tendency to become more and more efficient. And technologies have different kind of technologies, earlier mechanical technologies, then semiconductor technologies, and now what we call as AI based technologies. They're
Yes.
all going to be tools which are going to bring more efficiency in our lives.
Yes.
Now if somebody is going to be happy, no, I don't want to do things in more inefficient way, that's not going to be sustainable. You're going to lose out to either more efficient person, or you're going to lose out to more efficient technology.
Of course.
So the question is that how am I becoming better and better? So people, of course, and I'm not shying away from this fact that probably when these kind of technologies are going to be adopted at scale, there is going to be some level of disruption and pain, and that change is going to come in. But of course, some of the larger corporations and the government and the institutions will have to take a little bit of policy based approach here, that how do you lessen the pain. But this pain is inevitable for the larger good of the society. Let me give you an example. So while we may be having some job impact using technology AI, but the same technology like AI is going to help us solve some of the bigger problems which otherwise we were not in a position to even address those problems. And when those problems will get solved, the larger problems, the society level problems, or deeper problems, especially like in healthcare, AI is going to have application which is going to save millions and millions of humans. And the fast detection of problems, the earlier detection of some of the onset of diseases, so they're really going to help. So in that sense, the technologies are gonna be for the good. In the short term, we will have to overcome this pain, and the best way to overcome this pain is to answer this question: what I'm doing something today, is it transactional, is it value add? If it is more and more transactional, I have to upskill myself to become more and more value add. And in value add, I have to get deeper and deeper into expertise. And one thing we have to just throw out of our mind, that gone are those days when we had a degree and we can live off that degree or certification for 20 years. Be ready to pick up a new skill, a new certification every 2 years. And that's how we are going to become better as a society. And if we bring this change in our thinking, then I think we're going to be okay with this kind of a disruption.
Wonderful. Well said. I appreciate two pointers that you mentioned very correctly. Be open for the change and keep on learning, keep on adding a lot of certifications, keep on just learning. Like if you don't improve your skills, uh, definitely AI will. So you have to come up with good skills, good innovation, keep on learning. I think that's the success key for everybody out there, like you who feel that, you know. I personally feel like अगर आपको लगता है आपकी जॉब जा रही है तो यार पढ़ो थोड़ा कुछ नया सोचो थोड़ा नया करो और more contribution वाला जज्बा होना चाहिए and so you have to contribute a lot to the society plus to the company that you're working on. So that's brilliantly said.
And I would tell all the folks, learn from Diksha.
अरे नहीं नहीं sir.
So
I'm a learner. I'm actually learning. I mean, you know, I believe that nobody's perfect. So do with imperfections. I think you will achieve more. So I'm a firm believer.
absolutely, everybody's a learner.
करेक्ट करेक्ट सो वैभव जी एक और क्वेश्चन है जो बड़ा सटीक है बड़ा सही है और लोग इसका आंसर हर जगह ढूंढ रहे हैं बट उन्हें गूगल से नहीं प्राप्त हुआ तो ओवर टू यू वैभव द क्वेश्चन इज लाइक व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट इनोवेशन जैसे सपोज करिए कि आई एम वर्किंग विथ यू ओके और आप बोलते हो दीक्षा ये हमारा प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट है देयर आर 10 people in a group and everybody has to come up with a good innovation idea and you have 2 days. This situation happens with most of the companies because they are thriving like okay we need to do innovation every day. So यहाँ पे सब लोग के मन में दो क्वेश्चंस होते हैं पहला क्वेश्चन होता है यार मैं कुछ बोलूंगा पता नहीं उन्हें अच्छा लगेगा नहीं लगेगा तो दे माइट फील लाइक क्या बकवास लेके आयो क्या लेके आयो ये नहीं चाहिए ये कचरा है सो पहला एक साइकोलॉजिकली इम्पैक्ट कि यार मैं बताऊं या नहीं बताऊं उन्हें पसंद आएगा नहीं आएगा सो दैट इज वन सेकेंड क्वेश्चन टू यू वैभव कि इनोवेशन क्या है मतलब अगर मैं एक वर्कफोर्स का हिस्सा हूं मैं आर्मी हूं फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर यू नो मिशन उनके लिए सब लोग इनोवेशन सोच सके वो क्या है मतलब मुझे नहीं पता व्हाट इज इनोवेशन सो जस्ट हेल्प मी आउट लाइक हेल्प एवरीबडी आउट देयर व्हाट इज इनोवेशन हाउ वी शुड एक्चुअली बी ओपन अबाउट यू नो डिस्कसिंग द क्वेश्चन टू द टीम ओवर टू यू Yeah.
I think thank you for asking this question because I have a very different take on it, and this is
Sure.
purely my personal view, and
Sure. Go
it's not
ahead.
a Google answer at all.
Go ahead.
So, uh, first, let me tell very clearly. I think let's get the word innovation out of the window because let's not get bogged down by am I really innovating?
Exactly.
I think everybody has got creativity,
Yeah.
everybody has got capability to do innovation. The problem is that we are trying to do innovation for someone else, and that's where the problem starts. So if you're trying to do innovation because somebody has asked you to do it, then you'll go to Google for answers, and then the wrong cycle starts. You're reading something which you can't relate to, you don't have any personal experience around it, so you're trying to just put it into certain words and then blurt it out when somebody asks, and couple of counter questions, or your lack of authenticity in the answer is pretty evident. And that's where the doubt, so the doubt in the mind comes because somewhere I know I'm not authentic about this answer, and I don't really understand this stuff, I have no experience around it, so I'm just saying things to impress somebody,
Exactly.
and that's not innovation. So now
Exactly.
how does the question comes in, how do you really innovate? So the first thing is there's no innovation without pain. Anybody who feels that okay, I'm innovating for the innovation sake because I want to innovate something, they can't do it. There are some people who got that gene of being the Edison, that they love to create new stuff, but they will fail 100 times, 1,000 times, and their enthusiasm will not go down. That's a different gene. Everybody is not like that. So I would just recommend to people that if something has really pained you, something is not fitting, that okay, this is not right, this is not the way it should happen, and we always complain, like I don't think we got any less complaint, right? We can keep complaining the whole day.
True.
So if you want to do innovation, pick one of your complaints and think how you can solve it or lessen the pain or really solve that complaint. And if it is something that you're experiencing as a pain and it is your complaint, then try to solve it for yourself. And when you will try to do it for yourself, that will lead you to the path of innovation. Then the question comes, is it really something big? Because all of us suddenly want to do something big. Now, if your problem statement is common to everyone and you like what you're solving, you prototype and experiment with few other people who are experiencing the same problem statement. Suddenly you'll find that you have actually done something at scale. But you would also, it doesn't mean that what's the first thought which comes to your mind is the right thought. You have to do your homework, you have to do research. There's, if you can think about a solution, I'm sure thousands of people would have thought about it, what didn't work. Smarter people learn from other people experiences. So there's a certain process that you can follow, but the pain is yours. If pain is not yours, then innovation is not yours.
Wow. Wow. I think one line is like justifying everything. Pain equals to a great innovation, which is authentically yours. So very, very, amazing. I'm sure people should don't have to Google it. They can listen right here with Vaibhav, right? So this is super amazing. I mean, thank you so much. You have articulated in a very wonderful way. I'm sure a lot of people need not to write comment under the YouTube, but they can see you directly answering this question. Perfect. So moving ahead to my second last question. Last question is something which is different. Let's come to the second last question, which is आपने अभी बताया कि innovation आपका authentic होना चाहिए. अगर आपको पेन नहीं है तो वो निकलेगा भी नहीं. You cannot learn just by copy pasting or whatever you're searching. It's not going to happen. So my question regarding to this is कि जैसे हम लोग कभी कभी बोलते हैं ना, अगर मेरा इनोवेशन 1 है और इनोवेशन 2 है, इनोवेशन 2 में मैंने ओवर इंजीनियरिंग कर दिया, तो कोई बंदा जैसे वी ऑलवेज लाइक लिसन दिस, यार ये इनोवेशन तो ऐसे भी कर सकते थे, आप ऐसे क्यों आए? Like we touch nose like this, but we are coming like this, and this is over engineering. So my question to you is how people should understand. am I over engineering question mark, or I should not over engineer something, or probably over innovation something. So how that demarcation line जो होती है बीच में कि मैं इसे क्रॉस नहीं कर रहा, जिसको simplicity बोलते हैं, तो वो कैसे identify करे common, common youth and common everybody out there who are actually listening to you. So over to you, Vaibhav, like help us to define the line for us. Yeah. समझ गया.
Okay.
Yes.
So with that in place, I think, so again, I think very, very good question, because, and I'll borrow some of the pointers from my earlier answer.
Sure.
So I think it's very important to stick to the problem statement. So, and the moment you stick to the problem statement, probably the other factor you can bring into the equation is the customer. So while the pain has to be yours, but you'll have to find a customer who becomes your goal point. So if the customer says something is good, it's good, and you have to constantly keep checking, and that's where the agile mindset comes in. If you're still trying to do more and more while the customer is happy, then you're over engineering.
Okay.
Unless you have really a goal for a long-term vision, and you have that kind of a clarity that, okay, my product is going to evolve, or my solution is going to evolve, or I'm going to have competition from a new kind of technology. So you have to keep investing in your engineering side. Yeah. Probably you can use a 3M tape,
No, actually,
so,
I'm trying. Thank you so
just to
much.
keep it fixed.
There is a stand here, but
Okay.
it's not going to fix. Yeah, I'm doing that. Thank you.
All right.
I'll see.
No problem. So the question then comes that this over engineering is only in context to what the customer needs, how much you are investing your effort, and what's your core problem statement is.
Sure.
Once your customer is happy about it and the solution really works, and your problem statement is answered well, then there's no point in going in over engineering, frankly.
Okay.
Because there's a cost attached to it.
Yes.
And if you over engineer, either you're investing more time into it or you're investing more money. Both of these things are not going to be useful unless and until it is going to give you some more competitive advantage. In a very simple manner, all I can say is the solution that you're trying to build is particularly for the problem statement. And if you're doing over engineering, somewhere you have gone beyond the problem statement. So that's a fine balance you have to maintain. Maybe if you need to tweak your problem statement, and you can then probably relook at your engineering. But if you don't tweak your problem statement and continue to invest in your engineering, then of course you may end up over engineering.
Wonderful.
But also, let me tell you, it's not always bad, because sometimes you try to solve something and you figure something else out.
Awesome. So great. Just closing statement that you said it pretty well. कि आप अपने objective के इर्द गिर्द रहिए. Over engineering मत कीजिए. अगर दूसरों को solution पसंद आया है, maybe we can do a version next and go for it. So that's pretty amazing answer. Nobody will ever get on Google. Only get on with Vaibhav. Perfect. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Last question to you, Vaibhav. How to become a good leader? Say, for example, irrespective of innovation, nature, or anything, how to become a good leader? Like you have achieved so much in your life. तो हम उसके जैसा कैसे पहुंचे? हम अपने में धैर्य और ये सब कैसे रखें? So over to you, just like everybody out there, millennials के लिए. हाँ जी.
Okay, probably a couple of cents of advice is what I can give. I'm also probably someone in a making, and patience something that I need to probably get more. Some of my folks will validate that. But I think there are a couple of very key ingredients in my view, and I think the more you will talk to people, you'll find that in different contexts, there could be actually different ingredients to a successful leader. I think it is how do you get the best out of people?
Yes.
I think that is the key. I don't want to get into that nice definition of the leadership, because probably it's quite easy to become a nice leader, but I think sooner or later people want success as well. So if you are not really translating that into something successful, then the nicety is not going to remain too long. And when I
Absolutely.
say nice, it doesn't mean that okay, you have to shout and you have to like be angry and you have to be
True.
that is something that you can lose cool sometime, and you do lose. If you're not, then you're not passionate really.
Yes, of course.
But I think the choice of words and being being able to overcome it quickly, these are some of the humane tendencies. And you can make a wish list that okay, don't have this, don't have that, but frankly it's like asking for a perfect individual. Nobody got any time, even in our mythology or history, a perfect individual in.
Yes.
So I think do you have really a vision or a problem statement which really motivates people intrinsically, and they are really committed to the cause? I think having that and giving meaning to it and reinforcing it, because one thing I can guarantee you that when you start on some new interesting project, there is going to be periods of doubts.
Yes.
There's going to be some challenges, sometimes unforeseen challenges, and you don't know how to get about it.
Of course.
So I always use this analogy, and I'll again use this one. It's like you're walking into a very foggy area,
Gee.
and some of our people who live in the colder climates, especially in North India, we relate to that. So when you get a huge fog in winter, sometimes you can't even see the road or a couple of steps beyond the road. Then how do you walk on the road? So I think when you are able to give that kind of a confidence to the team that yes, we can walk into the fog, we have to go 10 steps, we can't see but even beyond 2 steps. If that team is with you to walk 10 steps in a fog while the visibility is just of 2 steps, then consider yourself that you're doing something right.
Wow.
The, the second thing I would only say is that you have to treat them as equals, the core team. Uh, One of the things that I personally learned, I'm good at few things, but I'm not good at all the things or many things. And as a team, they kind of combine things and they bring the best. So
Correct.
you have to give respect, and you have to give the recognition of the competence that your team members bring in, because they are good at some of the things that you're not at.
Of course.
So if you can give meaning in the vision and give confidence, you can articulate clarity, and you can give respect to the competence that your team brings in, which you don't bring in. I think these are some of definitely the ingredients of a good leadership environment, and I'm sure there are many more.
Yes, Vaibhav, and the most amazing example that touched me from within is the fog wala. You cannot see the future, still like a black tunnel. Still, you have the faith on your leader and on yourself and your team, and you're still going ahead. So that's something that it touched me within. So it's amazing.
I'll share a quote. I don't know who said that, but I read it.
Go ahead, sir.
That like in like from 1400s to 1800s, there have been so many sea voyages,
Yes.
and so usually the Europe led the sea voyages and the discoveries. So there was a saying in that in among the sailors that unless you're lost in a sea for some time, you don't find new lands.